Hey guys, so welcome to the video. Today's video is going to be an Ultimate Maverick guide. Pretty much that's as simple as that. So I'm going to be going over loadout, some tips and tricks on how to use it, and explaining sort of the different attachments and stuff like that of what you should use. So obviously you've got the AR-15 as well as the M4. Now the AR-15 is a DMR of such, and has four sights. You've got the red dot, which I wouldn't really recommend, but it can be really useful if you're going to be getting some tight picks or peak angles. But obviously you don't have the, the higher end zoom on it, so you won't be able to get as distanced ones. Holographic, I highly recommend, as it's not too long, but it's not too short. You can really use it at different ranges. Reflex and red dot, it just seems to have too small of a reticle of such. I like the 3x, but I feel like it's not really that useful when it comes to close combat maps. And also, there's quite a few maps that are obviously a lot smaller than others, than are open. So, the 3x obviously is going to be pretty useful on ranges, depending on side of maps, and also depending on the strat you're going to be playing. Maverick has multiple uses and can be used for different things and different strategies, which is, why he's a really good operator. So I'd also recommend the muzzle breaker over suppressor. It's a high damage fire rate. There's not going to be as much recoil. If you can control the recoil, definitely put a muzzle break on. They're going to be having comms in games anyway, so they'll probably be telling you, where you are, like death comms and stuff. They'll be saying where you are, so there's no point having a suppressor trying to be stealthy. I guess it can be used for when taking out cameras or something, but that's only like having one attachment for one reason. There's not much point. It's the extra damage, you might as well take it. Now, vertical, that will reduce the recoil, but it will you'll have slower ADS times compared to an angle gripped. An angle gripped will give you faster ADS times, but more recoil, which, depending if you can control the recoil, but you want the faster ADS times that, in, quick action firefights, on the maps and stuff, you're able to kill them for ADS faster so you can shoot first. Definitely do that. I definitely recommend angle gripped. Obviously, you won't see much of a difference with recoil, or maybe you'll see a massive difference depending on how good you are at controlling it. But if you can control it really well, definitely recommend angle gripped. So I would recommend muzzle brake, holographic, angle gripped. I wouldn't recommend a laser sight, because obviously in higher end ranked games, enemies can see the laser sight and they are able to sort of track you or tell you, they're able to sort of, I get a rough idea of where you are from where the light is, because if you're shining on a door and it's standing still, then they know that you're going to be holding an angle on it, so then they could move around. So you've got to sort of, think 2 steps ahead of what's happening. That's one of my recommendations. So I'd have that. Weapon scan, attachment scan, and charm. That's all custom. You can set that to whatever you feel like, but definitely recommend that. I'd recommend this because obviously the damage is only like 20. 20 difference. Recommend, ACOG, as it's not the biggest ACOG. It is, it's a normal ACOG. It's a good size. It can be used for multiple fights other than the 3x, and it's a pretty comfortable ADS to, or aim down sights to use. Why is that flickering? But it's pretty simple. Now, for the barrel, I'd recommend compensator. Obviously, the range on the damage isn't the worst. I haven't had any issues with it, and I mean, I'm not really going to be using that for firefights. And if you are, I'd recommend just taking the DMR. It's a high damage and it can be used close range, but obviously, getting the DMR has a lot more different distance compared to this. That's why I'd recommend that. Wouldn't recommend a suppressor. Flash hide is okay. Muzzle brake is okay. Compensator is okay. I'd recommend and just have a little mess around. As you can see, the recoil patterns on the bottom right here, they're all different, stuff like that. But obviously, some of them for different single. So let's say you have a really fast trigger finger. Some people like to use the muzzle brake, but obviously because of this, there'll be 0 recoil if you put the muzzle brake on. A flash hider is obviously for small burst recoil, so that's just the burst, and a compensator is for full auto. Now, obviously, full auto, the recoil may be higher than single shot as well as burst, but putting on the correct attachments will obviously make a difference. Suppressor, that works for everything. It just reduces the sound of the thingy, but also, comes at a cost of damage. Extended barrel, it won't really affect anything. You'll have the same amount of recoil as if you didn't have it, but you will be, you'll get better distance. The damage for distance will be a lot more. Now, obviously, same grips, so it's going to be same story. Obviously, do what you feel like. Obviously, you can see the recoil is going to be pretty high, but obviously, if you can control the recoil, then it doesn't really matter which one you pick, but, experiment. 1911 pistol. Wouldn't recommend a laser sight. Recommend a muzzle brake. Suppressors, I mean, you can put a suppressor on if you want. Obviously, everything's going to be to your needs. Don't do anything because someone else is doing it, but, just take into corporation their idea on what they, their point of view of things. Now, Obviously, pistol, you don't have any other choices, but I would recommend a muzzle brake, as that will reduce the recoil, and, you're not going to need a suppressor. For the secondary gadgets, I'd recommend getting nades or a claymore, depending on which position you're playing. If you're playing a support and you're going to be covering behind, stopping any rotates or flanks on you guys, then obviously take a claymore. Put it on a window, put it on stairs, and then that can cover you where you're sitting while you cover your whole team. It's pretty useful. You can stick it outside of a window while you're focusing on something, but nades are extremely useful if you're going to be, replacing a Thatcher or something. In a ranked map, Thatcher is one of the operators that tends to get banned, so a Maverick is a really good alternative to a Thatcher. As you can see in a second, I'm going to be putting a clip of putting a nade, burning a little hole up top of the wall, putting a nade, throwing it in, and then bouncing it down on the floor and then blowing up. That's an extremely good way of getting rid of any bandit tricks, and if you do it well, you can also do it through drone holes. If you don't want them to expect it, because, obviously, or maybe you're really good at timing, if you do it well, you could actually blow someone up like a bandit trying a bandit trick, so, depending on how well you play it, you could do it really well. So, that's all of that. Obviously, headgears and uniforms, that doesn't really matter, but that's it. Now, time to go into the gameplay and show you guys some tricks. So, like I said earlier, I'm going to be showing you some tips and tricks on how to, play Maverick in actual games and stuff, some little tricks for, his ability. So, if you just burn a mini hole, you can time the grenade, because obviously, most ranked games and, actual proper games, they tend to, bandit tricks, stuff like that. You can actually, if you do it high enough, they won't be able to shoot your head, because of obviously the position. Now, the second trick is just going to be burning 2 massive lines. Obviously, you can just do it from the middle onwards. You don't have to do it across the whole wall. I tried to do it across the whole wall, but I didn't do it quite right. But pretty much all you have to do is burn 1 massive line on the top and 1 less massive line on the bottom. Now, this will get rid of the reinforced wall in the middle. You will have to, get rid of the bandit charges or something, but obviously you're burning holes, so you'll be able to see them. So you can just shoot them. And then you're going to need a Ash or Zofia. I'd recommend a Zofia because she's, better up for this. I had Ash on my team. But, either one works. Just anything which has a distanced, softwall breach. So as you can see, I broke it. But obviously, you can see it's still electric because it's like sort of glitched, I guess, as it's still connected. So I just chucked a nade in there and, blew it up, got rid of the soft wall or got rid of all the bandit charges. Then she ashed it. And, now it's open. Now I have an open, hole into the objective, and I didn't even need a thermite. What you could do is just, burn a hole and then shoot the thingy. As you can see, it burns through castle barricades. It can pretty much burn through anything other than, obviously, non-breakable walls. But, hard walls, soft walls, all of it can be broken. It can pretty much burn through most things. As you can see, you can just burn some... I'd recommend burning a massive bunch of holes. But this can be bad and also good. It's good because they don't know which one's which. But bad because, they can just shoot your feet and, get them. Now, you can also just burn a ring and then use it like that, and then you have a, a mini thingy if it's clear. That's all. That's going to be it for, this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope this was useful. If it was, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and comment on which operator you want to see me do next. And I hope this was useful, and I'll see you in the next one.